Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of The Points of Articulation. My name's Dave and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today we're looking at the Hot Wheels Star Wars Starships Select X-33 Landspeeder. It's number 34 in the set and released in 2025. This speeder was first seen in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, released in 1977. So let's take a quick look at the box before we rip this bad boy open. At the top we have number 34, X-34 Landspeeder, also known as Luke Skywalker's Landspeeder. Nice little schematic here, Rebellion insignia. We have Star Wars, and we have that beautiful speeder. Look at that. Really cool. And right here we have the X-34 Landspeeder, Hot Wheels, Mattel, pretty cool. On the side, same as all the rest, just like that cool star field. The other side, similar. On the back, we have our logo, our actual ship or vehicle on the stand, looking nice. Then we have some other ships in the line. Now, I'm pretty up to date. I even have the new ones released in 2026, but I can't find this. Interesting. So on the bottom, we have all this jargon down here. And finally, on the bottom, tons and tons of copyright crap and all this other happy stuff. So, as always, a pretty cool box. So let's crack this bad boy open and see what's inside. Okay, so as we all know, I don't keep my boxes, so I'm just gonna rip this bad boy open. You know, we only live once, right? So let's get this out. On the bottom down here, we do have our little piece for the stand. So let me yeet all this garbage out of the way. Okay, and here we have our box for our stand. So pretty neat. Open this bad boy up. And it should be just like the rest with a slight modification. And we'll take a quick look at this later on, but there we go. Looking very nice. Love that gloss. And then we actually have a new pylon. Look at that little short one. So pretty interesting. Again, we'll look at this in just a few. So now let's take a look at this ship here. Well, speeder. You guys know what I mean. So it's in there pretty tight. I don't want to break it. There we go. All right, so this is looking amazing so far. What we're going to do is we're going to go over all the major points, and then we're going to get a nice close-up view to see all those beautiful details. So let's get started. All right, just like in all my videos, I will go over all the major points of the vessel, and then we'll get a nice close-up look to see those fine details. So let's begin in the aft section. Right here, we have our 2 repulsor lift generators, looking pretty nice. Then we have our 3 engines, looking decent. Some nice designs on the thrusters there, pretty cool. And the fronts of those engines, pretty basic, but it gets the job done. The engines themselves have some nice detailing on there. Looking good, especially this one with the exposed components. Nice. Then we have our cockpit, if you will. Looking very cool. We have our seats, a steering wheel, some controls and monitors. Love that. All the controls look amazing in this. And we'll get a close-up look of that in just a moment. Then we have our windshield. And this section here, I know it looks very basic, but inside is all the fun stuff. We have our comms receiver, antennas, fuel tanks. I believe the fuel tank is right here in the front. We have our scanners in the front right here. And then on the sides, these sections here, these are the repulsor lift grills. And then the emitters are right behind that. So pretty nice, pretty detailed, looking good. Love the dent there. Nice. Just everything. We have our pylons looking really neat. Just well done so far. Underneath, we have 4 rivets holding it together, copyright crap, and peg port for the stand. Really cool. Very basic, but it was. All major toys of this basically look the same. It's a big fan favorite, and I know it's released as the X-34 Landspeeder, but everybody knows this as Luke Skywalker's. So, pretty nice. So that covers all the major parts. So now let's get a close-up look. All right, so this is the first time I'm filming with 4K. I am zoomed in quite a bit, and ladies and gentlemen, this is amazing to me, how far I could zoom in. You can see the rivet on the bottom of the craft. It's very smooth. We have our copyright crap. Looking pretty interesting. Peg port for the stand, or other rivet. And we have our pylon to our engine. And just look at the detail in here. Very nice. Now the Landspeeder's detailing is, very subtle. Nice curves and little raised sections here and there. But it gets the job done. There's the other pylon. And then our engine. Looking good. I'll turn it over so we can look at the aft. Pretty neat. Some nice detail in here. Other pylon and aft of the engine. Looking pretty cool. Nice. Now here's the top of the engine. You can see we have our seam line. And some minor detailing around the front and aft. But pretty cool nonetheless. In the front, it's basically very bare. In the front right here, you can see some nice design choices. So pretty interesting. So that's pretty cool. Let's look at the other engine. This is the one that I always loved as a kid. Getting to see those little engine pipes and hoses. And this does not disappoint. Look at the detail in there. Sure, it's mostly one color, but it looks very cool. Let's see it from another angle here. Really nice. Then we have our seam line. The front of the engine, which is very blah. But a lot of the toys are like that. Let's see how if we go to the aft. We have our little thruster. That's kind of cool. But this is probably my favorite engine out of the three. Then we have some line work and paneling on the main body, which looks great. Look at that little thing there. Little recessed area, looking pretty cool. And then for our third engine, we have this nice pylon right here. No real details, but it's there. Turn it. Looking pretty cool. Then we have our top engine. So right here in the aft, we have our little thruster, which looks very detailed. We have some detailing on the bottom, right here and here. Looking cool. And then as I turn it, I'm so zoomed in that every time I make a little movement, this thing is bumping up and down. So I do apologize for that. But really detailed. I like the line work on the side of the engine. Sort of mimicking the seam line of the diecast pieces. But pretty cool. We have our thruster in the front. The intake, I should say. You can see it's a little flat there, just like the others. Then we have the top of our engine, which looks pretty cool. Nice. So let's take a look at the cockpit. So in here, we can see our seats. Actually, let me turn it. Here we go. We have our seats, which look really cool. And they go all the way down. Nice. Then for these sections, we have some controls. Little stick right there. And then looking in, we have our steering wheel. More buttons and screens. Really looks cool. If they were able to put like a little sticker in here, I think that would have been great. But really nice. I think this came out great. Now the windshield is just translucent plastic, very thick as you can see. But it gets the job done. I think it looks great. For the front of the vessel, we have a nice recessed area right here. Looking really cool. And some minor line work that comes up and around the top. Very nice. Cool. Now on the side of the vessel, we have this little curved area here, which looks pretty cool, recessed in. Same goes for this little component here, recessed in. And then we have our grille, which is nicely done. Very straight lines. The paint is solid. And what I like is, it's like a separate piece from the main body. So it gives it that layer of realism. So, pretty nice. And coming around on this side, same thing. We have our grille, and then these recessed areas. Looking sharp. And then we have our dent in the front, which looks pretty cool. Let me focus. There we go. You know, it's really dented there. Look at that. Wowzer. All in all, a beautiful looking ship. Very nice. A little heavy on the paint here and there. I have no clue what this is, but from a normal distance of just holding it, you could hardly make that out. This is a beautifully done piece. Nice. Well, that does it for our close-up look. So now let's put this on a stand and then talk about the paint and other dimensions, compare it, and then we'll be done. All right, looking at the stand, first part is the base. As you can see, it's very glossy, blends with the rest of the stands in the line, and it looks great. We have our Rebel insignia and also X-34 Landspeeder on the bottom here. On the front, we have Star Wars and also Hot Wheels molded in there. So looking kind of cool. Then we have our copyright crap on the bottom of the base. So just like all the other stands, we do have a second component, which is the pylon. It's a little shorter than the normal ones. We just peg it into port like so, and you're going to hear a little click. And just like that, you're good to go. So you can grab your vessel, and you're going to want to put the ball into the peg. Press down. Some of these are a little tough to get on, but just give it a little elbow grease, and you should be good. And once this is on, you can orient it any way you want. You know, the choice is up to you. I like a more standard approach of just, you know, facing forward. But just like that, everybody, you are good to go. The X-34 Landspeeder has roughly 8 different colors: tan, maroon, dark gray, gray, silver, dark metallic gray, black, and a nice gray wash. For its size, it comes in at 4.19 inches or 106.48 millimeters. For its weight, it comes in at 3.56 ounces or 100.9 grams. And now for a quick size comparison with the Hot Wheels Starships Select X-34 Landspeeder seen in the center I have it next to other ships and vehicles that were also first seen in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, released in 1977. First, on the right-hand side, we have the Jawa Sandcrawler, which looks fantastic. Then on the left, we have the Millennium Falcon. Now, each one of these vessels are great in their own ways, and if you want to see reviews of any of these ships that you see before you, check the links in the description below. And that does it today for my review of the Hot Wheels Star Wars Starships Select X-34 Landspeeder. Again, this is number 34 in the set, released in 2025. So this ship was very difficult for me to track down. I had to go on eBay, and even though I paid a little hefty price for it, I'm glad I could have it in my collection and share it with all of you. This is a fantastic piece. Nicely painted, beautifully detailed, it's got a nice weight to it, and it comes with a stand that unifies it with the rest of the collection. And that's basically everything I have to say about this awesome speeder today. I'm keeping it nice and short, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, and if you would like to see new content every week, subscribe. As always, thank you to all of you for taking time out of your hectic schedules to watch my show. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody. Also, if you're still there, this was my first 4K video. I really tried my best to get the light in and everything right. It is a very new medium for me. I also have a new editor, a new phone, so hopefully all this looks great. Thank you, everybody. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Dave out.